Hello, everyone. I am here to do a somewhat late new moon reading. I do prefer to get these recorded and out before the new moon, and the new moon is today, tomorrow, depending where in the world you are. For me, it's tomorrow. Um, but just as the day turns to tomorrow, and I posted my Instagram post for the new moon this morning, and I wanted to share that with you because I do my posts ahead of time, and how I do that is I go into the energy. So I will open the new moon chart if I'm doing a post for the new moon, and I will look at what the energy there, I will distill it into whatever comes through in that post. So I had just completed preparing this post before we had a bit of an accident with my daughter, and it was a crazy hospital, just awful, challenging, traumatic few days, which put me behind with some of the stuff, including recording this reading. But then today, kind of processing the trauma of the situation for myself personally, and really just struggling to get started, feeling very exhausted, feeling very overwhelmed, I read the post that I had posted, that I had pre-prepared for this Cancer new moon that I'm forecasting. And because it was just so very pertinent to me, I wanted to read it to you because I always find it so amazing that these messages are channeled through me. And it also speaks to the energetics of the astrology, because I can sort of forecast based on what I can see in the energy, but I have no idea everybody's going to have their own experience of life, in between and leading up to things. And when I reread something that has channeled through me, that has ticked the boxes of the energetics, and it's so pertinent, it's just a reminder to me that this works and how powerful it is. And as such, I just wanted to read this post to you, unless you're already on my Instagram and have already read it. But the Cancer new moon is tomorrow. It has a very fated energy to it. If you find yourself wanting to stay in, binge watch Netflix, and eat too much junk food, I suggest some reflection time. I know, you're probably not in the mood to journal. Smothering and feeding the feelings may seem like a better idea, but easier is not always better. You are straddling the line between your karma and your destiny, and you may be unsure which way is forward and which way is back. You may even want to go backwards rather than forwards, but you feeling a lot, and it can be overwhelming. My advice, and don't shoot the messenger, is to sit with it. Make a soup of all your feelings. Feel them fully, like when the onions make you cry and grating carrots feels grating to your nerves. Breaking down the chicken can be a messy business, and seasoning it just right brings the soup together. So now I'm thinking, make a real chicken soup, better than junk food, and symbolically feel how it reflects what you're feeling. Eating this nourishing, feeling, healing chicken soup is the ultimate embodied healing. This is a channeled message from my guides. I'm chuckling as it makes total sense, but I didn't know it was going to come through. I know what I will be serving at Red Tent. Some post-soup journaling would really help to integrate the healing too. So, as I say, that's what I had said in the post I pre-prepared, and it meant even more and made even more sense today. And I kid you not, but a wonderful friend bought me some groceries so I can stay with my daughter. And I said, I need to make her a chicken soup so that I can help her to heal. And I literally have a chicken ready to be made into soup. And I just looked at this post and thought, well, there it is. So I wanted to speak into a little bit how I got there. So it was obviously, as I say, I'm intuitive, I'm psychic, and also I speak the language of astrology and symbolism and archetypes. Now, obviously, I've been doing this for a good long while, and the way that I might translate something is going to be similar but different to the way you might translate it or someone else might translate it. And this is why I always find it so wonderful to get lots of different views on things, because, I'm a Gemini, so I like different lenses. And a lot of the way that I see things comes through embodying a lot of different ways of looking at things, because that's just how I tick, which I can understand now from my own astrology chart, my natal chart. But one of the reasons I feel like this is such a fate and destiny kind of new moon is that, remember, new moon is when sun and moon are in the sky at the same point, which happens once every month. The moon is dark. This is the seed point. It's the beginning of a lunar cycle, and it is a 29.5-day cycle. And the new moon is really that time to take action on something, and it sets the tone, which is why a forecast for this is always great, because it sets the tone and gives us the energy signature of the entire lunar cycle. This one is in the archetypal sign of Cancer, the mothering archetype, and it is squaring the nodes. Now, the moon's nodes, the lunar nodes, are where we have eclipses, and at the moment our eclipses are in the cardinal signs of, let me circle it here, Aries, so you can start learning your glyphs, and Libra. So those are cardinal signs. Cardinal signs are initiating signs. They're the leaders. They're the beginnings of a season. The other two cardinal signs, because there's always 4 of the modes, is Cancer, where we're having, just let you see that glyph better. Looks like 2 crab pincers or a sideways 69. Cancer and Capricorn. Okay, so those are all the 4 cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. So now we are having this new moon at 14 degrees and 23 minutes of Cancer. And at that time, we have the nodes in Aries and Libra squaring the moon. So what we have here is a T-square. You can't see it in this chart, it doesn't draw that in, but for those of you who know what a T-square is, this is forming a T-square. And it's also really bringing the moon, those are the lunar nodes. So now the moon is squaring her nodes. This is like a pivot point time. This is a very fated, destined kind of energy anytime we have something squaring the lunar nodes. And in this case, we have the lights squaring the lunar nodes, both lights or both luminaries, the sun and the moon. And the moon, they are her nodes. So obviously it's very potent for her, and the sun is our soul's light. So it's very pertinent for him. And it's the conscious and the unconscious with the sun and the moon. It's the yin and the yang with the sun and the moon. And then with the lunar nodes, we're talking fate and destiny. So it's this pressure point, this trigger point, this pivot point, call it what you will, a sensitive point of real change in a way that we can really initiate something. Firstly, because it's a new moon, which is an initiating time. And secondly, because it is cardinal signs, which are initiating energies. So this is, and squares and oppositions push and pull for change. So there is some change happening, and it can be feeling overwhelming because Cancer is a water sign. There is a lot of emotion wrapped up in it. And 2 of our water signs, Cancer and Scorpio, or the crab and the scorpion, are exoskeleton type of animals. And this is because water is so sensitive, so reflective, so intuitive, that sometimes it needs a little bit of a casing to kind of help barrier it from the world, versus the Pisces, the 2 fish who don't really have that. I guess their scales give them a slight level of protection and reflective qualities, but not quite as hard as the crab or the scorpion. And even the crab is the baby water, the first water sign, and it's the one with the hardest shell. And maybe in some ways, because of that deep vulnerability, without always having the emotional maturity. And then again, we come into Cancer being the archetypal mother, and this is a time to nurture and nourish and mother yourself. So I don't know if you read my newsletter, also came out a little late, came out yesterday on my son's 13th birthday. But if you did read my newsletter, you will see some of my musings into working with the inner child and the inner parent parts. Because in order to nurture the inner child, you need to also work with your inner mother and inner father part, which we all have inside of us all of the time. And this is a really, really good new moon cycle to do that, based on already what I've mentioned. We also have Venus here with the sun and moon, so bringing a little extra value and benevolence, like positivity, to doing that kind of work that we're talking about. She's really adding her feminine energy to it. We really value parenting the parts of ourselves that need parenting, and also filling the cup of the parents. Because if you are a parent, and I mean, my example right now of really my daughter needing me kind of through hospital situations and really challenging experiences, of course, as a mother, the default is to completely pour into the child who needs you. And that is obviously a heightened experience of it, but we can take this into your day-to-day as a parent, if you're a parent, even if you're a parent to a fur baby or a very involved aunt or member of a community or any of those things. Look at how you parent, right? So if there's a crisis, obviously everything goes into parenting, but there's only so long we can do that before we run dry. The parent part of ourselves, or yourself literally as a parent, runs dry and has nothing left to give. And understanding your own moon sign will also help you to work with this, but we don't want to get too far off track for that. But yes, so here we're saying, okay, but I value being that nurturer, being that carer, being that support, but I also need to value pouring some of that back into myself, or I will have nothing left to give. So very, very enhanced here again. How do I nourish the child within me? How do I nourish the parent parts within me? And obviously watching how that reflects in the external world. And also sometimes how it reflects in the external world will show you where your weak points are. So if you are really good at tapping into your inner child and not so good with your own inner mother, then maybe that's actually where you need to work more, or whatever, you know, you're going to have to find your own little configuration recipe here based on however you read. As I say, this is very often your lens, however you read yourself. It may not be in astrology. Maybe you're into numerology. Maybe you're into story and understanding the archetypes behind story, that type of thing. But whatever it is for you, that's the kind of inner work you need to do, figuring out how am I responding to things, or even more so reacting to things. How can I be more respond than react? How can I nurture myself? And this is very, very heightened with a strong Cancer. And Mercury is already in Leo. So we want to really make ourselves sovereign. We want to think about how do I put myself on the throne first, you know, because the stronger I am, the healthier I am, the more generous and benevolent I am in as a leader, because the archetypal Leo is the leader, the king or queen. In order to do that, I will be best for the kingdom or the queendom. And you can see there's already a separating opposition to our Pluto in Aquarius, but it's just gone over there. So again, it's that reevaluation, that dynamic power shift between giving all the power away to the people and then or being too much. Are you a top-down power type of person? Are you somebody who's like me, 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 oh, and you? Or are you somebody who's like you, us, we, us, and then suddenly you have nothing left to give? And that's, again, another sort of signature of how we're working with that, nourishing ourselves. And then we have Mars in Taurus. So Mars is not at his happiest in Taurus, but what we do have with Mars in Taurus is a kind of steady fortitude of just keep stepping forward, even when it's hard. Just pick your foot out of the mud and pick it out again and keep plodding on. So that's exciting. And this building to the Mars-Uranus conjunction, which we still have a little time for, but it's going to probably be pretty intense when that happens. Uranus is also not very comfortable in Taurus. Both of these two energies have a much more forward momentum, or sudden, or brash, or that kind of energy, whereas Taurus is methodical and steady and sometimes stuck and lazy, even sedentary, and these two don't do sedentary. So there's something building in the Taurus parts of our chart. We already had Uranus-Jupiter conjunction in Taurus a few months ago. So there's a lot. If you have strong Taurus in your chart, you will have been working with this for some time already, but really just feeling that there's another build up to something happening in the Taurus part of your chart as we get to this new moon, saying, even though I maybe overmother another, or maybe I'm forget to worry about others because I'm so busy mothering myself, whichever it works for you, how do I just keep plodding forward with the thing that is different that I need to begin to do? And then, of course, by the time that we have this new moon, we've just had both of our Pisces big outer planets go retrograde. So Saturn and Neptune both went retrograde. The 29th of the month, I think it was for Saturn, and 2nd of the month, I think it was for Neptune. So like right now, just happened. And so the things that have been going on in the archetype of Pisces are also just reining back in. And Pisces is the entire ocean. It's kind of hard to slow the motion of the ocean, but that's sort of what's going to happen here. So from the Saturn perspective, it's like a bit of a restructuring the emotional and architecture and the energetic architecture of our lives. And from a Neptune perspective, we might find, because Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces and kind of like idealistic and dreamy and all of that. So it might be a little more clear when Neptune is retrograde. And Neptune was on the tippy toes of stepping into Aries before turning retrograde. So there's a very big dynamic energy going on there, because and I think this is only happening, and I'm sorry, my brain is also still trying to recover from all the things that have just been going on in my life, but I think it's only in 2026, early 2026, I think, that both Saturn and Neptune will step together into 0 degrees of Aries. And that's pretty profound. It's pretty intense. I'm sure you can find many a conversation online about that as well. But we're almost, we can feel it already. We can feel the energy of that already, because we just had Neptune, even now, still hovering on the edge of Pisces, but he is going to back up a little bit before moving forward into that space again. So yes, the nodes are very important. I think that's all I'm going to cover for now. I really want to get this posted. Oh, and one more thing, I didn't mention old Jupiter, but he's still here in Gemini, really looking for new information. So that's quite fun for, okay, if I'm not nourishing my own needs, how do I do that? Let me get the information, because Gemini loves to be informed. Gemini loves to learn something new. So this is a good opportunity for that. Find more information, find new information, try new things. Gemini can be very creative and playful, and imaginative. So get imaginative, get creative, get playful, try the things. And if they don't work, you've lost nothing. And if they do work, you've got a new tool for your toolbox, which is really, really powerful. So I hope this has been helpful, and please send love and light and healing for my daughter, who is doing amazingly well, I will just say. And thank you for your time. Likes, shares, comments, subscribes, all very, very helpful. So thank you for that as well. And I look forward to seeing you soon.